Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have the aftermath on the 1996 Chevy Lumina. If you guys haven't seen the grandstands footage or the GoPro footage, go check it out right now. Check out both of them if you want. It tells the story. So we had a pretty darn good run, at least in our heat with this thing. And well, the Derby itself may have been a cluster. I tell you what, this car was not a cluster. We certainly junked some cars and actually hurt some people last night, but sorry to everybody I may have hurt last night. I apologize. Sorry, JJ. And I think I hurt another, I may have hurt a woman last night, but I was hitting hard with this thing. I wasn't letting up. I knew I got it. I had a real good competitive car. I knew I could make the hard shots when I could, and let me tell you, it paid off. Unfortunately, we ended up with the second, but the way it happened was I just got hung up on a Camry. On JJ Falling's Camry, and underneath the subframe there, it got hung up on that, and that was it. He, the guy in the Subaru, he knew if he got me off of the other car, he knew that, you know, there was a darn good chance that his Subaru was already really overheated and stuff. He knew there was a darn good chance he would have lost that Derby, and honestly, I can't really blame him. By the time he tried to knock me off, because people were yelling at him to knock me off of the other car, his car was already so overheated that it was bogging down, and it was just not gonna end up happening. So it is what it is, and congrats to the guy for first place. I think that was a great demo. We had a ton of fun. Congrats to him. Good driver. And of course, a part of the Bad Boys group. And in an almost identical Subaru to what I ran last year. Actually, the same people, of course. It was kind of funny. So, kind of ironic to lose to that, you know, to the Subaru that looks just like my old one did almost. But kind of funny. But either way, we had a great night with this Lumina. Let me go ahead and walk around it for you guys. Obviously, we kept the front tires clean. You guys will see that on the other side. I did custom groove this tire a little bit, and I don't think it made a difference last night. That track was so damn dry. So we did end up kicking the subframe a little bit up last night. I'll show you guys that a little bit later. I mean, you would think I'd start to kick that subframe with the way I was hitting last night. I kind of expected that. This Lumina was real solid though. In the back especially, this back end has impressed me quite a bit. This thing really did hold its own in the back, especially the fresh cars, and I wasn't being too kind to it. At least I don't think. I was being too kind to this rear end. So unfortunately my iconic donut here that's been on so many cars is officially done. There's no way it's taking air again. So unfortunately, my old friend, you're getting retired after this car, and it is what it is. That frame rail kicked right back out, and I'm kind of frustrated by it, but at the same time it's not into the tire or anything, so what we'll end up doing is probably just bending it back over, and we'll bend it all the way over. I like the angle which it's bent. At least it's not down here anymore. At least it's bent a little bit up. So that, or we'll just end up cutting it off with the plasma cutter. So either way, it'll get done. Obviously, it kinked harder back there. The seam started ripping out more. The roof has moved more. That's why I put this 9-wire there in the first place, to keep this door shut, because I knew it would be putting a lot of pressure on this chain. Let me tell you, there's a ton of pressure on that chain right now. And am I going to pull this back end back out again? I don't know. I don't want to put too much more stress on these seams. They've already been pulled out once, so we'll see. Over here, this side held up very well. I was quite surprised. This is what happens when you're not being hit hard from Camrys. It turns out the back ends of these cars are hard to move. So, not that this wasn't hard to move in the first place, because it got hit by Camrys, and I think it held its own in the second run of its life. The roof did kink, and the B-pillar's really starting to kink now. It's kind of interesting how it's bending. I know a lot of the Luminas like to keep the roof relatively straight and like to suck everything up and under, but that's when they're rusty. I guess when they're not rusty, that kicks up and that kicks kind of, the whole thing just goes up and it's going to be all funky. So we'll see how it turns out. It's going to be interesting. I may actually have to move where that chain is, because it's going to keep bending like that. It's going to get interesting real quick. That, or it's going to have to bend that door. So we'll see. On this side, I took a weird awkward shot, pretty quick off the bat there, and it tore that open. Luckily the chain held its own, so we'll end up beating that back in, and actually this chain's relatively loose still, so we'll end up pounding this back in, and I'll take a piece of 9-wire and tie it up just like the other side. I don't think they're gonna complain about that. This thing's used and abused, so I'm just trying to keep these doors from opening up at all. This side did start to split the seam how these Luminas normally do. If I'm also slurring or doing anything like that, it's because I'm very tired. I didn't sleep the best last night, and this is still relatively early in the morning. Although there's a ton of traffic out for a Sunday morning, I must admit. But this side actually got hit at some point, kept its air in it, but the trailing arm got kinked really hard, and I think it turned this tire inwards, which was actually a really good thing to have happen. As much as it sounds weird, it was really good that happened, because it actually kept this rear end straighter, because this tire, I'm sure, was starting to go more this way again, starting to go outwards, and when it got hit, it pushed it back in, so it made the back end kind of go straight. So now both tires are kind of trying to go like this, but this tire is still facing, you guys could just slightly tell it's not completely straight. It's still facing that way because the whole subframe is kinked over to that side. So, but that's enough of the rear end there. Let's get to the good stuff in the front end. This front end, I did use this front end quite a bit more this time around, and let me tell you, it held its own. We got some real good shots. We took out a few people with this front end for sure. I know I at least took out 2 cars with this front end, possibly 3. So very, very happy with how this went. The only unfortunate thing, it is kicking pretty strangely. I've never actually seen a Lumina bend this way, and if you guys have seen a Lumina bend this way, let me know in the comments down below. The subframe is kicking where they normally do. That's not abnormal. It's kinking right down there. You guys can see it. Kind of normal. And looking at this angle, the unibody still looks relatively straight. But let me tell you, it isn't. And it's not. And I know this has got paint or the dirt rubbed off of it, but that's because I was looking for a kink there. And if there's a kink there, it's just the smallest, tiniest little kink. But where it's actually kinked is right there. And let me tell you, that's not, as far as I know, that's not a common place for these Luminas to kink. And actually, it's starting to go just the tiniest bit down, which is very strange, even though the subframe is coming up. I think it's coming up anyway. So it's kind of strange. I don't know what it's going to try to do. It almost looks like it may try to go inside into the motor like this. I'm not sure what it's going to try to do. It's going to be awkward. But you know what? That's fine. We're bringing this to San Filippo anyway, so that's fine. It's going to get junked anyway. So, and no, I am not going to replace this bumper. And I am, as stupid as it sounds, I am going to fix and put another radiator in this thing. I'm going to fix the lower core support and put another radiator in this because the radiator is shot. But the reason why the radiator is shot is because the lower core support pushed up and in, and it actually cracked this radiator at the top here, right here. I believe it may be leaking over on that side, and the bottom right in the middle just about is leaking as well. The cooling fan is pushed just about into the motor. This coolant hose has been rubbing against the just a tiniest bit against this water pump here. It was sitting a little further back, I guess. That or just got pushed into it really quickly. It didn't really do any damage to that hose, thank God. I don't know about the bottom side here. Have to feel here. No, it didn't do any damage there either. So we'll be pulling this all back out and trying to get it as straight as possible. Try to get some room in that radiator area. Unfortunately, the core support up top has moved as well. That's probably from me hitting that Impala, because his frame rails actually were so pushed in that I more or less hit his core support too. Once the frame rails kicked in the rest of the way. So it was basically core support to core support, and if anybody knows these W bodies, the core support, even though the Impala's frames might be slightly weaker, especially when they're rusty, well, a lot weaker when they're rusty, these Lumina, or the core supports, usually stay very strong in those because they usually don't rust out at the top here. They usually are very solid still here at the top, and let me tell you, I think this core support kind of ate it up last night. And you guys can see how those mortar mounts are all kicked up. And I will probably try to straighten that out just the tiniest bit, but probably not going to be able to do too much with it. The motor is rocking pretty good now because of the fact that these are doing that, and that's probably one of the reasons why. That would explain actually this this rubbing here. But I'm going to try to get the radiator back in a little bit before I try to get this thing off the trailer. That way I'm not absolutely destroying this hose. I have spares, but I'd rather not have to use one if I don't absolutely have to. But yeah, I think the front end is overall, the frame over on this side is completely straight still. I don't think this has moved at all. If it did, it just slightly kinked right there. I can't tell if that's a kink or not down in there. Sorry about the sun, but it's just at an awkward angle this morning. But yeah, that's slightly kinked, but not too bad. Right up here, obviously, the crush boxes have kicked down, as I kind of figured it would. But overall, the front frame of this car is still in halfway decent condition, and we will end up using probably mostly the front end and finish this thing off at San Filippo. I really would prefer this thing not to survive at all, and honestly, even if it does survive at this point, if anything stupid happens, I probably won't save it, but I don't know. I really don't know. Some people are telling me this car's bad luck, because no matter how good it seems to do, it always ends up getting not first. But honestly, guys, I'm not taking this car as anything as a bad omen or anything about what happened last night. That's not a big deal at all, honestly. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, and I think it turned out about as good as it could have. And guys, I ain't that worried about it. I put on a show, and to me, that's almost better than winning. So, and props to, I don't know if I've already said it, props to Justin Lascelles Jr. who won that derby. I would have done the same darn thing. I'm pretty sure I already explained that at the start of this video, but I would have done the same darn thing, probably, if I was in his boots. So, but the Lumina, luckily, has another good run left in it, and let's bring her to San Filippo, and I'm gonna stop this video pretty soon here because I got to get this thing off the trailer. That way I can get the Suburban out back as my little tool shop in the back here, and get working and hauling butt on that Regal, because I am telling you right now, guys, I am very behind on that Regal, and there's a chance it doesn't run at Brookfield. And no, I'm not going to run this at Brookfield because I don't want to junk the Lumina and then run the Regal fresh at San Filippo. I'd rather save the Regal for next year and just run at San Filippo and skip Brookfield. So we'll see. It all depends on what happens. So stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you everybody who congratulated me on a good run as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye-bye, everybody.